Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are looking at my face for the first time. So as you know by the title, today I'm talking about this very famous book Norwegian Wood by this very famous author Haruki Murakami. Now if you do not know, Haruki Murakami is an extremely famous Japanese author, and lately a lot of booktubers and bookstagrammers have been falling in love with his works, and that's why I wanted to read a book by him, and Norwegian Wood is the one I've heard about the most, so that's why I picked it up. Now, the first thing that I want to say about the book is that I am totally in love with it. I loved the story and the characters. They were too engaging, and so much so that I actually felt that I was living the story, or I personally knew the characters. So yeah, first of all, it's super good. Now let's talk about the plot. The story begins with the protagonist, which is Toru, and he once listens to this song called Norwegian Wood by this famous band, the Beatles, and this song takes him to a flashback to his younger days when he was in university. At the time, he was in love with this girl called Naoko, and the twist in the tale is that Naoko was his best friend's girlfriend. So his best friend was Kizuki, and Naoko was his girlfriend. But Kizuki, when they were in school, Kizuki commits suicide, and we are not told why. He commits suicide, and Naoko is sad, and Toru is sad, and both of them go their separate ways, and they're trying to find happiness in their lives. They're trying to move on without Kizuki, and then, as fate had it, they once again meet, and then they are trying to find the lost happiness through each other, and then eventually they get into a relationship, but it's just too complicated because Naoko is dealing with severe mental illnesses like depression, anxiety, and all those kinds of things. She's suicidal, so the relationship is not easy. They can't meet each other a lot, and yeah, it's just very complicated. And then to complicate things even more, there's this another character called Midori. Now, Midori is a classmate of Toru, and she is a very fun, loud, and talkative girl. And Midori is actually the character who brings a lot of energy to the novel. If it hadn't been for her character, the novel would have been slow and dull. So she plays an important part in that sense as well. But she has problems of her own, she has troubles of her own, and beneath all her happiness and everything, she is sad as well. So yeah, there's a lot of sadness in the book, guys. It's a sad book. So anyways, eventually, as things go, Toru also falls in love with Midori, while he still have feelings and affection for Naoko. So now he is in extreme guilt and confusion. He is, kind of finding his way through his own feelings and emotions. He feels as if he's betraying Naoko in some sense. So yeah, the book is very gloomy, full of sadness and guilt and all those kinds of emotions. And at the same time, since all of them are like university students, they're at that age, so the book also has a lot of like elements of like college life, and there's like a student revolution going on and all those sort of things. So that also brings a youthfulness to the story and gives a character to the story, and the story feels complete. So in a sense, the story is a mix of love, sadness, guilt, a lot of deaths, and all those things. And the story is very deep and intense. It has a lot of layers to it, and even though I have told you so much about the story, yet once you get to read it, there are a lot more layers that you will unravel for yourself. And now, talking about the ending, it ends on a very vague note, so it's open to interpretation. Every reader will interpret the ending on their own ways. So that's something I like and dislike. Like I like that I can interpret the ending my own way, and there are so many explanations that could be given. And then I dislike that that there's not a solid answer, and I will never know what actually happens. So the language is pretty easy as well. So if you're someone who can take a lot of sadness, depression, death, suicide, and all of those gloomy things, then I would definitely recommend you to pick up Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. This is definitely one of the best stories I've ever come across. This story is never going to leave me. These characters feel so real, and I still need time to get out of it. Since the title is inspired by the song by the Beatles, Norwegian Wood, I went ahead and I heard the song, and now I'm also in love with that song. More so because I think now I can relate to it in terms and in context to the story as well. So it's a beautiful song, beautiful book, beautiful story. A must read. If you can take all of those sad feelings, you can read something so sad yet beautiful. So yeah, I definitely give this 5 on 5 stars. One of the best reads of my life. I totally loved this book. So if you see me spamming all of you with quotes and images and instances and everything from this book on Instagram, please forgive me. I'm just too obsessed with this book completely right now. So yeah, and on that note, if you're not following me on Instagram, my Instagram handle will be here on the screen and the link will be in the description, so you can go click that and follow me on Instagram as well. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and also most importantly the bell icon, so that whenever I'm posting, you are notified.